Good morning. So, constantly I should speak about the results of the of yesterday's experiment and how do we continue. So, I mean, TLDR, yes, we create worms and you will be able to see it even under the microscope. The video is very long, it's almost 8 hours, and I mean, it's now at the really last minute of its processing, so it should be online like any minute now. Um, it's almost 8 hours because I mean I've had three glasses, like one which I've done in a manner which is very deep, similar to the ones that I've done before, the predictable way, with medium strength transformer and like normal, I mean say, not the enhanced, like the enriched neo juice, but just normal one like I've done in the past. And this is actually where we had worms. The problem is that, I mean, after like about an hour or maybe half an hour, I mean mistakenly, I mean accidentally disconnected the electrolysis, and I've noticed that only after like 3 hours or so, or 4 hours. So I need to reconnect it and give it more time. So and after some time, yeah, I mean, worms started to be created, and I've taken and you, I mean, there is like a hour long video that like that you can watch at these like, I mean, the end of the video, the last hour of 8 hours, you can watch it under the microscope with a little bit of commentary. And the other two, I mean, containers. One of them was with very strong electrolysis, and it was just, I mean, so it contained like, so the mixture contains, like as expected, ton of neos. I mean, a, a lot, but it's evident that, I mean, life form was not be able to create it because the voltage was too high, and you cannot create probably life forms. I mean, with such turbulence and like molecules, they are always like that are like splitting to like atoms or like other molecules. So it was just too high, the voltage. This is evident, and although, I mean, by then tremendous amount of like foam that was created, even though I didn't clean it at all, like during these like 7 hours of like when it was connected, I didn't clean it. That, I mean, if you clean it, it creates more foam because, I mean, it makes it even stronger. But I didn't touch it at all for the whole duration. But still, there was so much foam, and most certainly because of the high voltage. And the last one I haven't checked it actually. It was with a very simple, like a 1 volt, 1 ampere like transformer, with a mixture that contains like the enriched neo juice, like from the aquarium. So I didn't like. It was so late I decided, I mean, to postpone it for tomorrow, like for today, and so we'll do it today. And but yeah, we had worms from the like normal glass, like we call it normal because I've done it in the past. It should be mentioned that it contains very little neos actually. I mean, like maybe like 1/1000th of like what we have in the bigger glasses, like in the other glasses, but it's enough. I mean, we don't need the enriched neo in order to create worms. I mean, in the past I didn't have this enriched neo juice. I only have it now. But yes, I mean, as we said many times, electrolysis is a cumbersome process, and you need to like adjust it because easily you can burn stuff. Or in that case, actually, we didn't burn anything. There was no like traces of burn because it wasn't that like powerful. I mean, like, so things actually burned, and there was a huge amount of foam, as I said, but it was accumulated over like 7 hours. So it didn't come to the point that it burned, but I mean, certainly it's just, I mean, the worms are very delicate when they're during the hours that they are created, and I mean, they need the waters to be, I mean, pretty stable. I mean, you cannot create like stable things, like hard things. I mean, when, I mean, the medium is so turbulent and like a ton of foam is created. Okay. Um, Still, I mean, it should be very interesting to actually um, see what's inside the last container that contained like that. I mean, where we have a very weak transformer, and so I'll do it very soon. Now there are two things that I need to do today that are very important that are related to life forms. First is to recheck the container that that was on top of the, like when we had the energy transfer experiment. Um, so like the container on top that contained just very little juice, and we've seen that actually it contained huge life forms. So we need to recheck it because presumably, the effect even continued even without electrolysis because it was continued to be there like for more than a day or two, even 2 days now. And so it was in effect even though it was without electrolysis. Now it's not in effect because I deconstructed the whole because I needed the space, like I needed the dresser, like the piece of furniture where for the next experiment. But still, whatever life form that was enlarged or created should be there, and I want to check it out today. And even more importantly, and this is actually another scoop. I don't know if you remember, but we actually have another aquarium. Like, I don't know if you remember, but we have the oil aquarium. I've shown you maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that it contains also elaborate mold structures. This one. You can see you in here, in the background, the Nazis, the usual stuff. So there is this background, this container actually, which should, and we haven't seen it under the microscope yet. And let's open it now. Should be interesting. Should contain, if my estimations are correct, should contain like a ton of life forms and also a ton of neros, because this is also aquarium. It's actually aquarium of a different sort. It's not. It contains a lot of oil, like much more than the one that we've seen before. It also contained oil and beeswax, but this one contains much more oil. It contains very little beeswax, because this was actually made also about a month ago. But at the time that I had that I started to have much less beeswax than before. That all my reserves were depleted, and I started to be very frugal about it. And this is true until now. Even though I received a little bit of beeswax from my mother, but still I'm frugal with it. But I used a lot of oil in this. Let's see what's inside. Just a second. Okay. So it should be very interesting. Ooh. So it's a ton of mold on top of oil and liquid, like a little aquarium. It's not as big as the one that we have, like the previous one, but it's big one. Like we have a lot of material over here, and presumably if the neros did not die, and I guess they didn't, but I'm not 100% certain. But there was certainly neros in there because I placed all sorts of semen and pee in there. So if they survived this months and we should, and they didn't die, they should have ton of synthetic and biological life form and mutated life form to eat. And so we'll check this under the microscope. It should be very interesting. So we have this one here to check. Check that. This one. We have the last of the 3 glasses. This one, which you didn't check, with the weak transformer. And we need to recheck the energy transfer container. This one. It's characterized, as I said, by very thin layer of water, almost no water at all. Just a little bit of material. And we also, maybe I will discuss the theoretical issue of energy transfer. What do we learn from the experiment? Could we actually say that it's an evidence that support the theory, or maybe we need more certainly it does not falsify the theory, but did we strengthen like the theory? And what more do we need in order to actually put the theory into a more rigorous testing?